Well, hello, folks. It's another Wednesday, and we are back to rank another puzzle game for the Game Boy. As you can see, we've got a list here. Tetris at number 1, Blodia all the way down at number 34. That means we're going to be adding a 35th game to the list today, and as I like to do, and I hit every fifth game or so, I like to pick something that I'm confident will do a little better. And this week we're pulling in a bit of a wild card. This is a game I enjoyed a whole lot on the Sega Genesis, and we're just going to have to wait and see how it turns out on the Game Boy, because this was very much a color matching game. It's called Zoop. Historically, I believe the only game to be published by Viacom New Media, or at least to have Viacom specifically named as the publisher on the box. I'm sure they purchased or merged with a company that owned game publishers in the time since. Viacom was they were a really big deal back in the day. And we've played other versions of Zoop on this channel before, but this is going to be our first evaluation of the Game Boy version. So let's just hop on in. Uploading or downloading of the materials contained. So Hookstone is the actual developer. So multiplayer, not going to work. I don't know what that would even entail necessarily. Options are pretty much music sound effects. Level is the easier mode, so we're going to start with continual just to show it off. And there are 9 stages. Well, there's actually, I believe there's a 10th stage. If you come down here, there's difficulties. There's no reason to set the difficulty higher than 0. If you want it to go faster, start on a later stage. Okay, so, explaining this may take a moment. Well, it's an easier game to play than to explain. But basically, we see these different bars with patterns on them on the outside, and if we sort of ram into them while we have the same pattern on ourselves, you clear them. If you have a different pattern, then you kind of swap with them. So if we, no, we want this. And no, I screwed that up. There, so these diagonal lines here are all the same pattern. So you can clear those all at once. I think that's a spring. Yeah, you collect a certain number of springs and you can clear the whole board. This is not the most readable, but say this a lot more so than I would have expected. Oh, and I guess we're on level 3. And the lightning bolt is a different power-up. Yeah, so I think it's sort of like an AoE. There's also, there's one that clears a specific color, and there's another one that just clears out a specific row, regardless of... Yeah, so if you see in sort of the... Yeah, I guess that's clear row. In kind of the top right corner, that's sort of your target, a number of tiles that you need to clear in order to go to the next stage. Oops. Okay, I think this one is... Yeah, that's the one that clears a row, or a specific color, I mean. When we jump back into this, I may choose to remove sound effects. I'm not too keen on the way they're interrupting the music. I do like the music in this game. I don't know if the music is actually good necessarily, but I like it. Because I grew up with it, you know. I'd say the presentation overall does seem a bit lacking, but and they pretty much captured the gameplay. Yeah, so you get bonus points if you can clear an entire row in one move without using a power-up. It can be risky though, and to be honest, a bit luck dependent. Oh, no, I want to keep that there. End of game. Not game over. End of game. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the sound effects so we can enjoy the quality music, and we're gonna play on level this time. It's mostly the same game. Something is kinda missing without the music, huh? Now you got a quit button from the pause menu. So again, you know, if you're a little more ambitious than I am, then you can kind of let the stacks build up a little on the earlier stages. It's easier to get some big points that way. When things start to speed up, that process gets a little more risky. Maybe select. We're going to turn the sound effects back on. It's distracting. The sound effects are also distracting, but not having them is kind of distracting. So here we go. Yeah, so basically, if it wasn't already obvious, the main difference between continuous and level is that in level, the screen clears between stages. This might also be a little bit slower than the console versions, which again, not really something to complain about necessarily, given the hardware. Probably just does make for a more user-friendly experience to slow it down a little bit. The soundtrack appears to be mostly consistent across the different versions, except the PlayStation one. PlayStation game has Red Book audio and a completely different soundtrack. I should have held on to that until I could have made better use of it. Ooh, that was a complete waste. That second one was slightly less of a waste. That one was pretty much a waste. Oh, right, 5. So if I'd remembered that, I could have waited till the screen filled up with tiles and then sort of, you know, clear them all at once for, well, I'd say big points, but more than that, just, you know, quick progress. seems to be different sound effects depending on how many tiles you clear at once. If that's the case in the other game, then I never really noticed it. That's 4. Oops. Well, sometimes things shouldn't work, and then they do. Wouldn't say no to another spring right about now. There we go. So there's like the rectangle, there's the clear white, and I got like the diagonal lines. Yeah, well, it's a rectangle when it's on the outside, it's like a square when it's on the inside. And there's this other one, kind of looks like a floppy diskette. Like, you know, like the old floppy diskettes that were actually kind of floppy. That's what I'm reminded of, anyway. I was hoping that would do more. Oh dear. There we go, and we were able to use the clearing of the stage to give ourselves a little break here. Apparently we're on stage 9? I'll say this also does seem like a faster-paced version of the game. For good or ill, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but this is kind of a finicky game to begin with. Yeah, let me also say that on the console version, I usually stall out well before hitting stage 10. And this game really is not stingy with these power-ups. Oops. There we go. End of game. I believe that's going to put that on a different leaderboard. Yeah, level scores. Well, I guess let's turn up the difficulty. Whoa! Yeah, they weren't kidding. I probably should have expected something like that, but I did not. I just figured it was going to be faster. Right. Sticky fingers. Just trying to... hard mode works differently on continuous, because I mean, the disadvantage here is, you know, each time it starts a new stage, they add a bunch of crap. There's not a lot of thinking out loud I can do while playing this. Partly because this game can be somewhat mentally tiring. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But I don't really... And to some degree, I think maybe it is a bit redundant to play this game for as long as I am. What I'd really like to make sure is that I'm not just letting my sort of prior experience with the game forgive it for any sort of shortcomings that I would consider being harsher on if this were a game that I didn't have a personal history with. I meant to wait on that, but whatever. I guess that is one thing we can say about this game, is that once it starts to go south, it can be a bit of a trick to recover. Like, we're sort of in a position now where it is a bit of a struggle to keep the game going. But that's ultimately, what, that's a difference of like, what, 1,500 points? Between easy and hard? Or, I guess, difficulty 0 and difficulty 4. So this time let's play continual, but on difficulty 4. See what this does. It seems to be pretty much the same after that, that sort of initial stack. I'm sure someone out there has worked out what is the most efficient way to clear things. And it is a little jarring to me that there's, like, just no fanfare whatsoever between stages. I mean, it's fine in the sense that I can think of plenty of puzzle games where I would really like the fanfare between stages to be either shortened or non-existent, so it's a strange thing to complain about. Again, I'm just used to it being there. It's really just as well that there's no one chatting today because I am so not looking at the chat window right now. I'm a little too into this. Oops. I could have made more effective use of that. Oop. It's raining quite hard out there. I don't know if you could hear that. Oh, there we go. Well, that is a larger disparity in points between the other two. Yeah, it probably wasn't necessary to start another game on the lower difficulties. I don't know if I'm gonna really have enough time to sort of go through this. We can play for like another 10 minutes or so, I guess. I still think the speed at which it kind of transitions stages and changes the music is a bit jarring. You know, even if you don't want to make a big fuss about the stage transition, you maybe like a half second of silence between tracks sort of create kind of like a little pseudo transition. And that is one of the things you do have to say about Zoop, is that a lot of the high-scoring moves are kind of dependent on luck, to some degree. You do sort of need... Oh, there we go. You do sort of need the stacks to kind of organize themselves in a way that would be conducive to making high-score plays. But it doesn't matter, because it's time to rank. So, I make no secret of the fact that I love this game, and specifically the Genesis version of this game, which is the one I played as a kid. And so one of the challenges of rating this is trying to think of it from the perspective of someone who's playing it for the first time. And yeah, I can understand it being a little confusing at first. It really never stops being overwhelming. You know, it's just the things coming from all four directions at once. It can feel like a lot. This version is missing some of the bells and whistles, I would say. Like, I think they didn't quite... Like, the stage transitions aren't there. The stages all look exactly the same, which in other versions of the game, the backgrounds change. And fun little detail, I actually fell for this as a kid, but some of those backgrounds are, like, so busy that it kind of messes with you. It can make the game harder to play. And I remember on the back of the box, they credited that to the apparently patented Opti Challenge backgrounds. So basically they tried to sell their kind of ugly design as though it were a feature. And I totally bought it. Like, as a kid, I thought that was totally for real. That it was an actual thing, that they had sat down and tested these backgrounds to try and mess with your head. And I do remember there was one in particular. If I would look at it a certain way, it would make me dizzy. There's like vertical stripes that I don't know if they were off center slightly or they just looked like they were. I don't know. But yeah, that's all missing. The music is heavily downgraded. The presentation in general is fairly downgraded, where it used to be like shapes coming at you, and the shapes would correspond to different colors. And in this, because they can't do colors, it's just tiles with patterns on them. And yeah, it loses a little something visually, it loses a little something musically, just overall design. But all that being said, like, this doesn't fall into that sort of bust-a-move situation where, like with that game, the big problem was, you know, that without the colors, it was hard to read what you were supposed to be doing. And that's not the case here. This, I think they did the work they had to do to make this game readable. It controls well. The Zoop games have never controlled amazingly well, but you'll learn to get used to it. There's a floatiness to it. There's something to it. You can learn it. But I think really what it comes down to is just, this is a perfectly playable version of the game. It's not it's nothing special. But I guess, I mean, outside of my personal fascination with the game, I guess it's technically true for all versions that they're nothing special. It's not as good as Nontan. But it's better than Palamedes. And Palamedes, I look back on that, and I'm kind of surprised that I ranked that game as high as I did. Thinking more about it, I was like, yeah, that's about right. Just while I was playing it, I wasn't expecting it to get that high up. But it's fine. It's fine. Oof. What is it? The Amazing Tater and Boxel and Matchmania. Well, Again, we're in a situation now where we're comparing some very different games. And where Matchmania is a very casual game. And then, Tater and Boxel are both games where you really sit down and think about each move. And then Nontan is a game for very small children, so it's kind of more user-friendly by that respect. My thought is you will probably get more out of Boxel and Amazing Tater, just where, again, they're games you can kind of sit down and sort of gradually work your way through them, and the puzzles all involve taking your time and kind of... Sorry about the yawning. Sleepy. Yeah. Congratulations to Zoop. Currently, a top 10 game. And with that game on the list, we now have a list of 35 games. And I am so sorry about that. Just yawning a lot. I think the list is starting to take shape a little bit. We're starting to put a little more distance between the really good stuff and the really bad stuff, and then the things in the middle are. The things in the middle would probably shake out differently every time. Like if we just restarted this whole thing, I think the stuff in the middle would jump up and down. Where the top and the bottom would probably be about the same. But that's going to be me for this evening. Let's have a look and see who is on. It's Star. Looks like Gildersneeze is playing cheap horror games. So that could be some fun. So we will hop on over there. I will be back tomorrow with live improvised music, and as usual, I will be back on Saturday with music production. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, some more retro games, and there you have it. With all of that, thank you for coming by, thank you for hanging out and lurking, and as always, I do hope to see you next time. So bye for now.